ring, ring. Banana phone. Hello? My squishy banana. It's a sensory toy. It's got sand in it or something. Kind of fun. Today was kind of cool. I didn't want to go at first, and I felt crummy this morning, but I went to the acting class. It seemed to go okay. It went alright. And there were people in there building scenery for the play that's up and coming. Part of the scenery, some boards. There's an old stove over there. And gonna be putting up a wall here. This is going to be the set for the underpants. Hi, Corey.
Hi.
The young lady named Corey is the acting teacher, Susie. It's her daughter, and they're pretty cool. And I hung around till 3 o'clock and painted and helped out, put walls up and things like that. I like doing that kind of stuff. I always have. And they couldn't believe that I was such a trooper. Well, at first, when I first got up, it was from downstairs of the building to upstairs. They were eating pizza. They said, "You want a piece?" And I said, "Only if I can stay and do some work to earn it." Okay. So I had a piece of pizza. And I worked until 3 o'clock. I painted and cleaned and held things together and helped put things together, and I had a really good time. I might go Tuesday to do that because they're having a bunch of high schoolers come in, and they asked the teacher, Susie, my teacher that lives up the next subdivision up the street, if she would be available Tuesday because these students are going to come in and they may need somebody to tell them what to do. So I said, if it's okay, and I think I'm available Tuesday. If it's okay, can I come and help too? Oh yeah. They said, basically like almost, where have you been? Like, yeah, I told you I like doing this stuff. So that part of the day went well. It got like 102 to 105 Fahrenheit, something like that. It was really hot today. Really hot. I stopped by a donut place, and I just, about 10 minutes ago, devoured the donuts that I got. Some of them, it was a chocolate-covered, cream-filled one that tasted like crap. But then they're all raised glazed donuts, and it's like they took quite a bath in sugar, I can tell you that. And they had crumbly crumbs with lots of sugar. Those were good. Those were good. Anyway, I finally got home, stopped by the mailbox, got the mail, came home. I had stopped by the grocery store, got something you heat up in the microwave to eat. It was some kind of pasta with shrimp and garlic. And no, not again. No, not gonna. That's it. That one is a NG, no good. Oh, what else? So I'm working on the little children's book right now, and what I wanted to mention, and I just got off the phone with him, my high school boyfriend, John, and that's his name. My high school boyfriend, John, has been calling me. He's married, but I don't lead him on, and if I say bad words, it's usually a dirty joke. And we try to tell each other jokes and stuff, and both of us have, well, it's been 50 years. But in high school, we used to play ragtime music on the piano. This was before the movie The Sting came out. We were into ragtime. And then ragtime music blew up everywhere. Everyone loved it, apparently. And we used to do that. We used to do Groucho Marx skits. He was Groucho Marx and I was Margaret Dumont. And we know all the oldies, all the old movies and all the old songs. And I still like the 20s and 30s music. He likes more of the late 30s, 40s type stuff. He likes like 1941, 42, something like in there. That's his jam. And, other music too, but he mostly likes that kind of stuff. And we can talk about anything, and we'll mention somebody like U.B. Blake, who was a ragtime player, and he wrote music and everything. And we can talk about stuff, or he'll say, well, there was this guy in the movie in 1932, it happened one night, and the woman was, I'll say, Claudette Colbert. He goes, yeah! Like, I know those things. So we can talk about that kind of stuff. Where there's no one else around where he works, or neighborhood, or even his wife. She doesn't know that stuff. And, last night he called. He started messaging me in German. And I would answer as far as I knew in German, and then he ended up calling me, and he says he's in the basement in his radio room. He's got ham radio equipment and all kinds of nifty stuff. And he said he had to be kind of quiet. Well, then he told me how the night went. His wife has been planning to go to someplace down in Arkansas. A little cabin that they have in the woods. No electricity or anything, just a little getaway place. And she got within 10 miles of the place, and the van that she was driving started making noise. She called him up and was all flustered and everything. She doesn't know anything about cars. She couldn't even diagnose to say what the sound was or anything. He was a mechanic for years, so he built up his car. He has like an old 63 Plymouth Fury. So they don't have the latest and greatest. They're, I would say, working poor. And he drove down, heard the car, and said, well, you can drive this home. It's not going to do any harm. I'll fix it up at home. So she was back home, and he was tired and hungry, and he stopped at like a gas station for a burrito or something, and they wanted him to do self-checkout. And he said, can't you check me out? And he said, no, just do self-checkout. He was waiting around, and they were sitting around talking, and he wanted to be checked out by the guy. He's like, I don't work here, And he threw it down on the ground and stepped on it and was hollering and screaming about it because he was tired and hungry and had a bad night. And then he left and he went home. He did manage to buy 2 beers that are 14% alcohol each. And he was drinking them when he called me. So I played counselor, basically. And, wow, he was really depressed. He was almost on the verge of suicide. And I've always felt that if people really don't want to be here on this side of the grass, let them go. But I knew that he didn't want to go because he called me, because he wanted to talk to me. So I thought, okay. So we talked for a long time. He told me things that he never told anyone else. He confided in me, and he was crying and everything. And I felt, wow, I was drained. I'm thinking, wow, is this how a counselor feels all the time with their patients? And he had a good cry, and when it was over, he said he was tired, and I said, well, you need to go to bed. And I said, maybe you needed this. I said, I'll talk to you another time, and we'll see how you're doing. So he called tonight, and he sounded a lot better. He's at work again. They work him to death, and he's going to retire in October. But they've been working him every single day of the week, and 12-hour shifts. That's not cool. Yeah, so they live in hillbilly land in the Ozarks. You can't treat people like that. I was a manager for a while, and if you treat people nicely, they're willing to work. They're willing to do. But if you treat them like crap and slaves, they're not going to be willing to do. So he's having a real tough time. And I felt terrible. I thought, and he told me he loved me. He says, I don't want this to sound, this is going to sound weird. And I said, what? He goes, I have something I have to tell you. And I said, what? He says, I love you. I really love you. I should never have let you go. In 1974, I let you go, and I should never have done that. Just think where we'd be today. I have no idea. He's ultra-right-wing conservative, and he supports Trump, and I definitely do not. And some of his views are a little different. But I think his soul's a good one, and he's trying very hard. So I worried for a while, couldn't sleep for a while. That's why I felt crummy this morning. But and I asked him tonight when he called, I said, I haven't been leading you on and making you want to leave your wife, or, you know, he goes, no. He goes, did I say something? And I said, no, you didn't say anything. I said, but people seem to get the wrong impression out of me all the time. He said, no. See, we can be blunt with each other and ask each other questions that only very close people can ask each other. And also, because we're opposite sex, he says, I've heard rumors that when women are old, and this can happen or that can happen, you know. And then I ask him about old men and stuff, and we're honest with each other. And it's like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I don't have to look anything up. I can just ask somebody, which is nice. And my generation is direct contact and calling instead of texting. That's my generation. It's that kind of stuff's not, it's going to go away. And I fear that one of these days all this technology is going to be wiped out, whether it's a war or something, a solar flare or something. And what are people going to do? They're not going to know how to do shit. They're not going to know how to cook. You know, things won't work. Microwaves won't work, and they won't know what to do. When my generation's probably one of the, unless you grow up on a farm and your parents have taught you, or your grandparents, people are not going to know how to do anything. They're not going to know how to cook, or sew, or anything. So if your parents are teaching you how to cook or sew or something, relish it. Embrace it. Because they care for you. And they want you to exist and be able to exist. So I was pretty worn out emotionally after that long suicide prevention phone call. And he had a little bit more chipperness in his voice tonight, so I'm glad. Whew. I'm very hot. I have the windows open. It's supposed to be 70-something degrees, but I think I'm just going to turn the AC back on because it's so stagnant in here. I haven't had a cold shower yet. Of course, it's not really cold. It's so hot around here that warm water is about as cold as you're going to get. But when you're wet and you sit in front of a fan, and the fan evaporates all that stuff off you, it does feel better. Tomorrow's Sunday. Brian traded off today for tomorrow, so he's working tomorrow, and Ashley is home, but the hospital where she works with information technology and computers and stuff, and they've been changing systems and stuff, so she's going to be busy working from home in her little room upstairs in her computer, but I get to watch Little Man tomorrow. And the kitty cat didn't know what to do today because usually he gets to see Little Man. And I said, well, you're going to get to see him tomorrow. Yeah, today went pretty well, actually. My sciatica was acting up real bad. I could hardly walk. My hips wanted to go out and everything. I was like a cripple. But now I'm home. I'm going to take a shower. And I told John, can he call back on his next break? He goes, well, it might not be for a couple hours or so. And I said, that's fine. Because there's a couple other things I just wanted to say and get them said. about friendship and things like that. And decisions and life and stuff like that. You know, counseling stuff. I've never had official counseling classes or anything, but I think a lot of this stuff is just common sense. You want to make people feel like they matter. And you want to feel like you matter. So it's really good when you can do a project where there's a positive result. Whether it's building something, talking to somebody out of their blues. Which reminds me of a joke. What happens when you run the record player backwards with the country music song? His dog comes back, the wife comes back, and his pickup truck starts working again. But ching. Yeah. Catch you later. Catch you later, Mr. Beta. Upward and onward.